All right, everybody, it is 7 o'clock and we're going to get started with our next webinar. Is there ROI in social media? And if you're just joining us, welcome to the New Life event. My name is Shauna Siegel. Some of you may know me as Shauna Fennell. I got married on the 4th of July, but I'm the CEO of One Choice for Your Store and host of Ecom Experts on Webmaster Radio. And I love education, and that's what this whole weekend is about. So if you want to learn more about me, just check out my bio. But welcome to the New Life event. It is 30 webinars in one weekend, and we're on our wow, we still have 27 webinars to go. It's just absolutely wonderful. So special thank you to our speakers. Please make sure you say thank you to them. We could not have an event without them. They are phenomenal. A special thank you to our audience. You guys rock. Without you guys out there spreading the word and keep tweeting about the event, we just couldn't have this event without you. So you are the sponsors of the event, and keep on going. You guys kick butt. So please help keep spreading the word. And we're going to give you some awesome prizes throughout the entire weekend. So here's how you can spread the word. Send people to newlifeevent.com. If you're doing some tweets, throw in at newlifeevent, but make sure you use the hashtag NLE. And as a matter of fact, if you go to tweetchat.com and up at the very top, you can sign in, and it's going to tell you to enter in the hashtag. Just type in NLE, and what that will do is put you in our own little New Life event chat room, and it will automatically put in the hashtag for you after all your tweets, and it's fun, and we can talk together, and it's just an absolutely great way to spread the word about the New Life event, and you're going to win some prizes for doing so. Our upcoming schedule, we've still got e-commerce shipping simplified and how to grow your business to 7 figures. So 2 more webinars to go after this one. And if you have questions, we've got Twitter, New Life Event, or ask questions on the right-hand side. Right now, we're going to get going with Matt from DreamSystemsMedia.com, and he's been asked to share his knowledge with others at many conferences around the country. I met him at Search Engine Strategies. He's wonderful. He's spoken at the business plan competitions at BYU Hawaii, the eTourism Summit in San Francisco, SMS, PubCom, and in front of many large corporations giving them search strategy advice. And Matt is anxious to share his knowledge of internet marketing with others and help them be successful online, and this is his main purpose for blogging. You'll see this example by looking at his blogs. He provides information on doing and not just search industry news. We like people that actually show us how to do this stuff. You know, so many people talk to us about it, and it's just kind of confusing after a while. And it looks like my screen was paused, so I do apologize, but now we're on the right area where we need to be, and we're on Matt's screen. So welcome, Matt. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me here. This is awesome. This is my second New Life event, and I had a blast in the first one, so I'm glad that you guys had me back. So
awesome. Anytime, anytime. We were doing it again in February. Already invited, so I'm going to put myself on mute.
Alrighty. So basically, the reason that I wanted to get into this one, which is putting the ROI in social media, is because it's one of the biggest questions that I'm asked all the time. Why should I spend any time on Twitter, or why should my business care about Foursquare? And you guys are kind of you're going to kind of get a twofer on this one, because we're going to talk about, return of investment with social media, but I'm also going to throw in some stuff with location-based services like Yelp and Foursquare, Gowalla, things like that. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because those are also social networks, and and people are starting to blend them all, and I'm starting to get many questions about, there's just too many of them out there. Twitter and Facebook and Foursquare and Yelp, and why should I do all these, and Groupon, the new coupon one, and so there's just so many places out there. You really can start to get a little overwhelmed, and so my goal is to kind of help you understand some of the big ones, some of the ones you must be focusing on, help you understand the ones that the location-based services. We'll get into that with mobile. We'll talk about where the direction of mobile phones and stuff like that's going. And so, again, really, this is why I wanted to present this information, because I see the return of investment every day in what I do with social media, and it frustrates me when I hear someone saying, well, actually, it shouldn't frustrate me. it gives me an education opportunity. But when I hear people talk about, it's a waste of time, or Yelp's a waste of time, my business shouldn't worry about it, or Foursquare or whatever. So really, we're going to get into a lot of that stuff. And so again, for those of you that like to know who you're talking to, or who you're talking with, if you haven't Googled me already, here I am in all my prettiness. But we're going to go ahead. Oh, and also one thing I forgot to do in the previous slide, if you wanted to follow me on Twitter, you could just follow me on @Max_Siltala. And so, again, I'll give you that information throughout the slides here. But all right, so again, the reason that a lot of times I love incorporating my kids into my presentations, because a lot of times I'm on the road and I miss them, and having them in my slides makes me feel a little closer to them. But I really like this picture because it says so much. And I'm talking about social media because a lot of it's a marketing tool. It's another one of those channels. It's a media, some sort of a medium, just like with direct mail or TV commercials or radio commercials, whatever it may be. Social media really is just another one of those tools, okay? But the picture here, he's got the flashlight. He's kind of got a clueless. First of all, it's during the day, so the flashlight's not going to do you any good during the day. But he kind of has that puzzled look like, what am I supposed to do with this? And so a lot of what we're going to be getting into is helping you understand that social media is a very powerful tool. It does have a return on investment, and helping you understand how to use it. So first of all, why we do it. It's all about the links, okay? We're going to get into each one of these things, but again, when you talk about social media, okay, and this is just one piece of the puzzle. I don't want anyone to start yelling at me saying, hey, social media is not all about the links, but obviously it's for networking and making connections and getting people talking about you and things like that. But a lot of the return of investment from what we do with a lot of the social media and what you'll see in these slides, it comes back to SEO and links and really good, doing a really good job at making your site one of those sites that's trusted, one of those sources that people want to come back to. And so again, when we start talking about social media and with links and things like that, we want to talk about everyday life. We want to talk about stuff that's made the news. We're going to get into the top social sites. I'm going to help you understand how you can use answer sites, figuring out what's trending, and help you understand if it's worthy, because one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make, they want to go on to some of the biggest social networks out there. Like I'm going to use Dig as the example. They go and they submit a product page from their website. Sean has mentioned a lot about e-commerce sites lately. They'll go and submit one of their product pages and then come back and talk to someone like me saying, I tried Dig, but it didn't do anything for me. No one voted for my stuff. Well, you have to understand the community, and you have to understand what kind of content you're putting in front of that community. What kind of content is that community looking for, and is it worthy? And so we're going to be getting into all of this. And so, all right, let's talk about everyday life. And by the way, I get excited about this kind of stuff, and I am talking kind of fast, but I'm trying to put really an hour or two's worth of information in 30 minutes. So it's a challenge. But all right, so everyday life. Okay, I use my kids, as I've already explained to you, as the best example. Okay, this is another one of my sons, and I did a post one time about how at the time he was 4 years old. I said, my 4-year-old, I was having a problem looking for something, and my 4-year-old just said something that made me laugh. He said, well, why don't you Google it, Dad? And I was thinking, that's odd that he's paid attention to what I do enough in my life that he tells me to go solve my problem by Googling it. I just thought it was funny, so I posted about it. And it ended up making the front page of Dig, and it was on a SEO blog, a search marketing type blog that it did that. And here's the result right here. And the reason I'm making a big deal about this is if you know anything about Dig and making the front page, number one, it's really hard to make the front page of Dig if you don't know what you're doing. And at the time, I didn't know what I was doing with Dig, I guess, per se. It was several years ago. But even more so, this was a search site, a marketing type site, which they hate on Dig. Okay, they absolutely loathe them. But I did it, and it got picked up by someone that loved it. It got dug. We made it to the front page, and I wanted to show you this because I Googled this recently, and where my 4-year-old, I typed in the word Google it. I mean, it's a really huge search phrase. It brings back, if this particular listing 3 years later is on the 3rd page, but this is what I wanted to show you. It's out of 8 billion, 300 million sites, and it was on the front page for a long time, for a couple of years when you typed in Google it, and it sent us so much traffic, and it got a lot of people linking to it. I mean, they thought the story was just cute, awesome. I mean, we got a lot of hate too. People were like, "Oh, that's so stupid." But again, a link's a link, and I'll take the one saying, "Hey, that was cute," and I'll take the one saying, "Hey, that was stupid," because they're all making me more, popular. They're all doing what they can to make me more popular. So again, that's one example. Here's another example. How to sell on Craigslist, a big keyword. If you have a business product surrounded by teaching people how to make money on auctions or classified sites or things like that, one of the biggest keywords for a lot of those people. We get tons of traffic from this every single day. Still to this day, and this story was several years ago. You'll see here, I used to blog on 97th floor. I started my own company, Dream Systems Media, but my good friend Chris Bennett, he's the owner of 97th floor, and we used to blog there, and we both got into all this about the same time. And anyway, so that's how come, if you're wondering why you're not seeing something from Dream Systems Media for this example, I wanted to show you something old so you could kind of start to get an idea of the return of investment, okay? So here I am, and let me go back to the previous page. It didn't show you the arrow like I wanted it to. Just had to go back one more time. But if you see up here in the results, that's out of 4.5 million websites, and it's still on the first page for how to sell on Craigslist. Again, it's a pretty big keyword. We were even ranking for sell on Craigslist. I can go on and show you the rankings that we had for it and the traffic that it got. But the amount of links and people thinking that the story was cool. And again, this is everyday life, because what I did was I just shared the story of how I sold my car, or what was it? This particular story, because I've done several on this one. Okay, I made $500 on Craigslist in 10 minutes. Okay, I had a bunch of stuff to sell. I went and did some research, figured out what makes people want to click on it. Just simple things like, for example, if you're selling something that's antique, knowing what people are looking for right now. If you're saying it's antique, there's not going to be as many people wanting to look on it and click on it as if you said vintage. And again, just going in and diving in and knowing that kind of stuff. But, so I'm sharing all these techniques. People love this story. It still ranks. Again, folks, this is just everyday life. Now, when you start to say, okay, that's all fine and dandy. You're creating content that's being pushed out on these social networks that people are liking. And by the way, this one made the front page of Dig too. And again, same site. It's a marketing type website. But, years later, hundreds if not thousands of links later, okay, if anyone's ever done any link buying, don't lightning strike me down right now for saying that, but if anybody's ever done any kind of link acquiring or link building or whatever it may be, this cost me nothing. I'm building up thousands and thousands of links, if not hundreds, if not thousands of links for free. I mean, I'm just writing and I'm putting good content out there and I'm putting it in front of the right audience. And I'm building a lot of backlinks. I'm building a lot of trust to my website. And so, again, that's, right there, first and foremost, that should show you, okay, a lot of people want to see the return of investment with sales. If I make a front page of Dig, how many sales did that equate to? All right, well, most of the time you make a front page of Dig, it's not going to make you any money from sales. It's the long-term effect of what it does and how it makes your website popular, how it builds links, how that makes the SEO that you do and ranking for the keywords that you want to rank for, which are going to bring the people that are going to convert, so much easier. Okay, so again, that's one way where I want you to understand the return of investment with stuff like this. And so again, moving on. Made the news, okay? You want to keep an eye out, locally. My best suggestion is, set up kind of a Google alert. If you've never heard of Google alerts, watch places like that, and when stories pop up, blog about them. I even know a lot of people that use strategies that have websites that are related to certain industries, if they know something big is going to happen, like let's say that I blog, I sell shoes, and I have a blog about running and physical fitness and stuff like that. And I'm always presenting that kind of information. Well, I know that the Boston Marathon is going to happen in a couple weeks. Well, I'm going to get a post ready, and I'm going to get everything set up. And again, this is just examples that were shared to me by people, but you can kind of see how you could take this within any industry. But you can kind of get your content ready for what's going to make the news. If you know the Boston Marathon is going to make the news in a few weeks, then you could start blogging about it and talking about it and stuff like that. So again, whatever your industry is, if there's something interesting, if there's something that you could, you could look at PR Web, any other news sites for interesting stuff that is just being launched or announced or things like that. You can see what the competition's doing. Keep an eye on them. You can watch social news sites. There's a lot of, like tipped.com, TIPD.com. Really good source for financial and business news and information. Watch stuff like that. It's not a really big social network. It doesn't send a lot of traffic, but a lot of really, they have good editors there, and a lot of journalists look at that kind of stuff for this very reason right here. Again, keeping an eye out in the checkout line. I always talk about, keep an eye on the stories that make you want to pick them up. Link baiting is no different in what we're doing, trying to get people to click on our links and link to us. It's no different. Why do you pick up that National Enquirer? Because the headline was so outrageous that you just had to look at it. Okay? It's no different with online stuff. Okay? So keep an eye out for stuff like that. You can go and research these top social networks. Dig, for example, is the one I've been talking about a lot, but there are other ones out there. Reddit, obviously, Twitter, Facebook, StumbleUpon, Delicious. These are a lot of the big ones that I use, and these do not include the location-based services like Foursquare, Yelp, Gowalla, things like that. A lot of the user, all these are social networks and user-generated content type sites. But go to Dig. If you are a person that's selling, let's just pick an off-the-wall product, candles. I mean, go and type in the word candle, the keyword candle, or whatever it may be. Go and look for it on one of these sites and see what kind of stories. Are there any stories? Is there anybody talking about stuff like that? You're going to be able to submit different content to Dig than you would, for example, Tipped. Tipped may not like the stupid, funny photo of what you did when you were drunk yesterday that everyone's going to laugh at Dig, but it's not appropriate for Tipped. So you have to go to these different sites, do some research, and see what might work with your industry. Okay? So again, it's understanding that not all social networks are created equally, and understanding what might work well on Dig may not work well on Tipped, or vice versa. And so it's just getting in and understanding. Plus, something that may be allowed on StumbleUpon, you may not be able to post it to Facebook. Again, they all have different rules, regulations. It's something to keep in mind. Just an FYI. So my best recommendation: just get in, start researching these websites, see what kind of content's out there that's related to what you're doing, and you don't want to copy what those people are doing, but just do what they're doing better. Get some ideas. Help it start, helping the creative juices flowing. Maybe you have some of that everyday life stuff that I talked about, and then you go and do some research on Dig, and you figure out how you might be able to tie the two in. And again, a whole other topic of discussion is what you need to do to participate in these communities to build up powerful accounts. The sad thing is, if you're brand new and you go get a Dig account and you start using it today, even if your content is awesome, it's probably not going to make the front page just because of the politics, and you have to be a pretty big Dig user and stuff like that. I mean, I've been using these sites for years. I got a huge group of people, but when I first started going on, and see, again, that's where you might say, okay, well, how is this going to work for me? Well, if you're thinking about investing in some kind of a company to do your viral marketing, shameless plug like we do, we have these kind of accounts that are established. But if you want to do it yourself, just understand it takes time. You want to build up these powerful accounts that when you're voting for other people's stuff, they start to recognize you, and then when you put other stuff out there that may be yours, they vote for it as well. But it's not something that happens overnight. But definitely, I don't want to get into that topic now. It's something I can help you with later on. Look me up online. But you do have to build up some decent accounts behind you before these are really going to do a lot for you. But again, just strictly talking the return of investment, if you do research out a firm and they're wanting to charge you, $1,000 for an infographic and the push to get it on the front page of Dig or whatever it may be, and you start to say to yourself, well, how much money should I be investing? Is there going to be any kind of return? Well, this is what I'm explaining to you. This is where you do start to see that return, because think about the number of links you're going to build and the traffic and the popularity and what it's going to do for your site. And so that's how I want you to start thinking. Another way to help you start to build those powerful social accounts, if you want to do it yourself, if you go to Google and you type in social media for Firefox, or you just go to the plugins area on Firefox, and you can do a search for it. The social media for Firefox tool that was created by my friend at 97th Floor is a really good tool to help you start to know the content that is popular, start to participate in these communities, and really go in and help you understand what's going on with the social communities and doing what you need to do to build up your accounts. Really, really powerful tool, because what it does is it helps you, like let's say that a story went popular on Dig and you're looking at the tool and it shows you, okay, no one submitted it to StumbleUpon yet. Well, you can go in and you can be the person that submits it to StumbleUpon. Then if it goes just as crazy on StumbleUpon as it did on Dig, people are going to notice that. They're going to add you as a friend. You're going to start to build up your accounts, and it's going to start to make things much easier for you. So again, there's that tool for you. All right, answer sites. These are some of my favorite places for figuring out what kind of content to add on my website. Now, I'm not saying that all of this kind of content is going to go hot on the front page of Dig, but again, these are all social media type sites too, because they're all user generated. The community watches them. The community tells you if you're being bad or good or whatever. And so again, these are all social networks too, so they need to be included in this conversation. But again, I love these kind of places because it helps me understand the questions that people are asking about my specific industry. If I'm selling dental equipment, I can go out there, or if I'm a dentist online trying to get more people to my practice, I can go and search one of these websites for dental questions or dentist or whatever it is, and I can start to see all the questions that people are starting to ask or that people are asking about dentists. What scares them? What are they looking for in a good dentist? Just are they having random questions? These are the kind of things that I can start to go back to my website if I'm a dentist, and I can start to answer. I can go on my blog and I can do a whole answer section where, common dental questions. And again, you can work this with any industry, but I kind of hope you see where I'm going with this, because any of these websites are pretty much amazing for, for getting this content that people are asking and wanting to know, and it puts the real time right back into it. So hopefully that makes sense what I'm saying. All right. Another way to check it out is by looking at what's trending. Okay. I pulled this screenshot from Google just today, and it happens to be right now that this is the stuff that's trending. For example, let's say that you had a blog, a financial blog, and you sell, credit card, or you're a credit card affiliate with, and you're providing financial information and stuff like that. Well, if unemployment is trending, then I'm going to start to do what I can to write some really good content about unemployment, or maybe put some infographics out there about unemployment statistics. I'm going to do something to capitalize on what's trending now, okay? And this is the kind of content that you want to focus on, that you want to really try hard to stay on top of, and always be looking at these kind of places. Again, obviously not all of your what you're doing online and what you're selling is going to have something that's trending. But this is just a good example. I mean, if you just went to Google and did a search for trends, you're going to get, just an enormous amount of websites that offer really good information. I think trendwatching.org is one of them. I should have listed them here as resources. I don't know them off the top of my head, but again, if you just did a quick Google search for it, and the point is staying on top of it. You can even do it on any of the press sites like prweb.com, and they have areas of what's trending and stuff like that too. So, all right, this is my Billy Mays pitchman picture here. Okay, basically, he's no longer with us, but I used to love his infomercials because, he would pitch anything. Anyway, I kind of throw it in here because I'm wanting you to know that just because you can pitch it doesn't mean you should. And sorry, just a second, I had to shut my door. Anyway, just because you can pitch it doesn't mean you should. And just think about that with all that I've said about the different social networks that are out there and whatnot. So again, all right. Thinking outside the box. All right, I'm going to get into a little bit of this with you, and these are just some examples of some infographics we've done as a company and that we've promoted that have done really well for our businesses. When you're thinking about, okay, what kind of content do I need to put out there? If you're providing really good information about your products on your blog, that's great for the people that have found it, that are needing that information, but that's not the kind of content that's going to go hot on Dig. So you need to start thinking about what kind of content it is, okay? And so we throw stuff like this, technologies that prevent you from sleeping well. And, there's some stuff in there that might be, a little bit controversial, but that's what you want. You want people talking about it. You want people, you don't want everyone agreeing with you. You want the people that love it, and you want the people that hate it. And speaking of that, the people that love it and hate it, that's what gets the debate going. That's what makes the content that much more popular. You see, we did this piece right here called The Evolution of the Electric Guitar. We did this for a amplifier company, and basically what we did was we went in and did a history of the electric guitar and threw in some really awesome stats and stuff and put it on their website. Well, at the very end, we threw in the Xbox controller, and a lot of the guitar purists hated it. A lot of the gamers loved it. So there's people on there saying, this is awesome, we love it. There's people on there saying, this sucks, this was good right until the very end. This is an awesome poster, but leave that out. But really, that's what's happened to the electric guitar. I mean, it's probably, my guess is there's probably more of those Xbox controllers sold than some of these guitars. And so that's why we threw it in there. It was going to get that discussion, that debate going. This piece did so well, and I'm going to show you some of the statistics, and these are screenshots even taken from a few months ago, so they're probably even more by now. But this did so well that they have people that wanted this as a poster, so they've made this as posters. They've put it on T-shirts. Who would have thought from a simple marketing piece to get a lot of people interested that it would even do something like that? Here's another example of the kind of content that can do well. It doesn't always have to be an infographic. It can be, content where you include images and provide useful information. It can be funny information. This is one we did for a beer company, and I wish it would show you all 10 of them, the different funny names, but you guys would probably laugh. But again, just you could probably do a search for 10 extremely funny microbrew names on Google, and this will be one of the ones that comes up, and you can see them all if you want. But again, instead of just like digging a product page saying my beer is the best, why not create content like this that makes it useful and it's funny and it's useful in the terms of it's something that a lot of people on those kind of sites are going to want to look at. Here's a recent one that we did that went absolutely crazy. You see, it made the front page of Dig. Here 606 digs. It got shared a ton on Facebook and stuff. Anyway, you see the stats right there. But basically, we did this piece that talked, would your mother approve of that app? One of them on here was this iAugment one where it shows you what you would look like if you were to get a breast enlargement or whatever. Down here you see the second one. There's another controversial one. It got killed by the Apple Store, but it was a baby shaker app. I mean, there's a lot of on here that are shocking, or it makes you think, are you crazy? Can they really do that? But it got a lot of people talking about it and passing it around, and it made the site that we put this on. So, you know, it got like over 70,000 unique visitors the first day, hundreds of inbound links. And again, if this site was just to try to dig one of its regular pages, it wouldn't have done any good. So again, thinking outside the box. You know, I don't have time really to go to a live screenshot, but if you go to Google and you type in recalled baby products, you're going to see this website, which is hugamonkey.com. You see over here on the left how to spell it, about this lady above it, Hugamonkey, if you're curious. But it still ranks in the top 10 for a huge keyword, recalled baby products. It also ranks, there's 3 of these, their images that rank in Google Images. Theirs is the first one. And we just did this graphic talking about recalled baby products. What's crazy is it didn't make the front page of Dig, but it got picked up like by the Consumerist. And if you've ever read or know anything about online, you know the Consumerist is a pretty big blog. And tons of people shared it on Facebook. A lot of people retweeted it. It drove hundreds and thousands of visitors, and it didn't make the front page of Dig, but it got really good links because of the people that had picked it up, because it was such an awesome piece showing all the different pieces or products that have been recalled over the last year. And so again, this website, if they were to just try to submit their sling on the front page of Dig, it wouldn't have done anything. It wouldn't have done well at all. But you see, they put these kind of pieces out there, and then they link up, if you see up here in their first paragraph, the keywords that they are going after, and they're tying it into what's going on in the world. At the time, there was a baby sling recall going on. So they said, hey, we want to take advantage of this. We want to show how ours is better, show people the stuff that they need to be worried about and whatnot. And anyway, you kind of see it speaks for itself, in my opinion. So the return of investment on stuff like this, these guys get traffic, links, all the stuff that I've talked about, but most importantly, it helps them rank for keywords that are going to bring people into their website, that are going to buy from them. And, you know, this guy, I just talked with him a couple minutes before the webinar, and he was telling me how his sales have just dramatically increased since this piece went out. And he credits it to this piece. I mean, all the links built, the rankings, his traffic hasn't really died down since we did it. And so, again, getting known and thinking outside the box and what can my business do, that's what we're talking about here. All right, so proof. Here's some more proof from what I was just talking about. This, again, this screenshot was taken a while back, but 52,000 visitors on that guitar piece, 61 people going back and forth, and I would love to have the time to take you and show you some of the comments because they're funny going back. But that's what you want. You want to think of that piece that can do that, can get a conversation started. That Beer of the Month one that I was showing you about, again, these were screenshots taken from several months back. I'm sure there are more now, but again, this is just from one website. This doesn't even count what they may have done on other networks, how many times they may have been shared on Facebook or Twitter, or if they were dug. So, all right. So let's talk about making it clickable. And I started to get into this a little bit with the grocery magazine, but you want to take notice of ads and stories that make you want to click on them, okay? Start jotting it down. What makes you want to click? What makes you want to look at that magazine? This is how you're going to research the competition, okay? You're going to go to Google and you're going to type in something related to your industry, and you're going to see something that sparks your interest. This is the stuff that you need to start remembering. You know, what's going to make it clickable? And I can give you the example of, you know, I did a piece on how to tell if you need a new mattress, okay? And I did a test, okay? How to tell if you need a new mattress. I mean, it's important. It's a sound-worthy, whatever you want to call title, but it's not sexy, okay? It's not nothing that a massive amount of people are going to click on. Okay, so let me ask you guys what you think. Do you think the title, How to Tell If You Need a New Mattress, or How to Tell If You've Had Too Much Sex on Your Old Mattress? Okay, obviously you could probably guess which one's going to get more clicks. Now, I'm not saying you always have to be risque or you always have to throw sex in there because sex sells. You don't have to. I'm giving you this as an example of figure out a way to make it more clickable. And that's my point. All right, so we're going to start dabbling a little bit into the mobile side of it. These are a lot of the mobile applications that I use. Yelp, Foursquare, Gowalla, City Search, Urban Spoon, Bright Kite. These are all location-based ones on the top here. These are all ones that have games where you can earn badges for having the most check-ins and stuff like that. Anyway, we're not going to get into a whole lot of that, but I just want to help you understand why you shouldn't forget about mobiles, because more and more people are starting to buy smartphones and they're starting to download these apps that have these. And so instead of someone going to Google and looking for a place to eat anymore, they're getting on their phone and they're using the Yelp application, okay? And they're using it as basically their little mini search engine for local places. So again, if you're not on these sites, if your business isn't listed, if you're afraid to get on them because you're afraid about what people are going to say, people are going to get on there anyway and talk about you. So you better make sure that your business is listed and the information is correct. Because regardless of if you are worried about what someone's going to say about you, they're going to be on there, period. Okay? All right, so this is what you have to start asking yourself. What are you trying to accomplish? Okay? Again, with a lot of these social networks. You know, when you're talking about time spent on Twitter and Facebook, what is your goal? What's your goal with Twitter? Is it to network? Is it to send people to your website and make sales? Facebook, are you trying to build up a community where people come back to you as a resource? What are you trying to do? Figure out what you're trying to do with these networks, and that's going to make accomplishing your goals much easier. You know, with voting and sharing, reputation building, networking, all this kind of stuff. You know, what are you trying to accomplish with these different networks, and then set some goals. You know, if it's content that you want to create to make the front page a dig so you can start to get some natural links built, then, you know, that's one of your goals. That's going to lead to sales down the road through increased rankings and things like that. So, all right, so here's an interesting thought, and I wanted to throw this out here because we did, me and Will Scott, a good friend of mine, if you've got any conferences or anything like that, you know he's a huge person in local marketing, really awesome guy. But we did this Foursquare survey for SMX Advanced. We spoke in Seattle a few months ago. And we did this big Foursquare survey to everyone, and we're like, you know, which one of these have you heard of? Obviously, Yelp is the clear winner here, but something that I want to help you guys understand too is that's interesting is over here on the right, Groupon, a coupon type website. Now, I know Yelp is offering coupons and things like that too, but it's interesting to start paying attention to the coupon social networks and stuff that people are looking at. And you know, it's to me, it's just interesting to see. Obviously, you know, people are still using City Search, Angie's List, but again, this tells you if I'm a business owner and I've been doing traditional marketing for a while, insider pages, you know, not very many people have clicked on it. Okay, the newspaper, those kind of ads, they're dying. They're a waste of money. Yes, I said it. Okay. But again, these are the ones that are online. Here's something else, though. This is where the education, and this is where doing things like this that Shauna's put together are awesome, and I need to give Shauna a virtual high five for doing these, because this is what was so interesting. We did this big, long survey, and everyone said, yes, I use Foursquare. Yes, it's brought people to my business. Yes, I see how it's worth something and I need to keep using it. But when you get down to the last question, which was, if you had to pay for it, would you? 90% of them said no. That's just because there's no education. They think that it's just a silly game that's going away and they don't need to pay attention to it. But guess what, people? It's not going away. That's where the education is going to come into play. And helping businesses understand that, you know, Foursquare is something that a lot of people are getting into, and again, it may be something that's not hot in a couple of years from now, but you need to stay on top of what is hot now. Right now, this is one of them. And so if your business isn't utilizing it, then the businesses that are doing it, especially if you're local, but the businesses that are utilizing it that you're competing up against are just leaps and bounds and probably doing 100 times better than you because you're not on it. So again, that's just food for thought. You want to get them talking about you because, again, one of the benefits, especially with a lot of local sites, is you want the reviews, you want the local citations. Well, when people mention you on Foursquare, when people mention you on Twitter, those are what we're looking for. Those are those local citations. Those are the things that make your website more popular. When people do a search for local stuff on Google or Yelp or whatever, especially with Google results, what comes up in the top? The ones that have the most citations, the most reviews, the ones that are where people are clearly using these accounts. So again, this was just an example of how, Joe's Real Barbecue is a really popular place here in Arizona. It was featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, or one of his restaurants was, I can't remember, but they're all popular. And, he's active in Yelp. He's active on Foursquare and Twitter. He uses them all the time. He says, hey, can't go wrong. Come in for some free food. Well, of course, this Silent Bob AZ is going to tweet about it, and he's going to talk about it. He's going to say, man, Joe's Real Barbecue took care of me. These are how you can get in and start. That's how you see, you talk about the return of investment. Well, when you get in and you make people happy and they're talking about you and they're bringing their friends, they may let you eat for free, but they're bringing 4 of their friends with them. That's where you're making your money, and they're talking about you, and they're getting more people that want to come to you. Again, I started jumping the gun and getting into this, but again, additional benefits of social media with this local and mobile stuff. Obviously, you got your link citations, which is what I was just talking about. Image search, a lot of times, people, this is something I noticed. I was uploading a lot of images from local restaurants to Urban Spoon, and the Google Places started pulling those images as results, and I thought that was interesting. And so, making sure you're a business owner and you're going and you're uploading the images that you want people to see is super important. And when people are tweeting about you or Facebooking about you, and then again, blogging and emailing directly. I mean, these are super cool benefits with social media. So, all right, I'm going to share another Get Creative with you. This is a social network I use called Daily Booth, and I was brand new of it at the time. Really, didn't have a whole lot of people following or anything like that. Never got many people commenting or anything, but I said, let me try something silly. Let me try something unique. So I took a picture of me waving, with the picture, like there's picture. Obviously you see what it is. It's hard to describe, but so then, boom, I got 23 comments within like a couple of minutes. Now that doesn't seem like a big deal or whatever, but I got a lot more followers from it. A lot more people I saw clicking on my website URL from the profile page on this, seeing who's this crazy dude. Again, more clicks, more people talking about you. It's just a creative way to use a network. I'm not saying you have to go and use dailybooth.com, but I'm just helping you understand, get creative when you're thinking about this kind of stuff. Don't be boring. There are some social media resources. Social media for Firefox, I've already explained to you, but Noam is a great resource too. There's so many social networks out there. You might say, how on earth can I sign up for them all? Well, Noam has a great service that does it for you. I highly recommend them. Who's Talking? It's a social networking search engine run by a really awesome dude, Joe Hall. If you ever have an opportunity to know him, your life will be better. You got Twitter search list. You got image search, SEO for Firefox from Aaron Wall. Lots of social media resources here. Can't get into them all. All right, it's about that time. I need to take a drink and shut up for a minute and let Shauna come in here. And
Oh, we always learn so much information. It's just absolutely phenomenal. There's a lady, and I hope I say her name right, is Lena, Lyena, who has been just twittering phenomenal information that you're sharing. And, here we are talking about social media. I remember during the last event how many people were talking about how many new followers and new friends that they got after the New Life event because they were tweeting all this information. And I think one of them said she had 600 new followers after the weekend because she just kept sharing information, and then all these people started following her. So I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, congratulations, and I'll let you continue.
All right. So basically, I'm just going to end it with this slide. You want to track what you're doing because, again, if you're asking, again, this is the most basic, this is the best answer that I can give anyone that says, well, where's my ROI? Well, if you're not tracking it, if you're not seeing what people are saying, if you're not looking at the tweets. So again, with what Shauna was just saying, man, she hit the nail on the head. She should be doing this one for me. But if you're not tracking that you're getting 600 new followers from something that you're checking out, I mean, that right there, you're acquiring that person as a lead, so to speak. Every time you tweet about something or every time you mention a product of yours or something, it's going in front of those 600 people or those 600 fans that you made on Facebook or whatever it is. I mean, these are all the things that you need to keep an eye on. How do you do that kind of stuff? Well, there's lots of tracking tools out there. Tracker is one of those ones that helps you stay on top of what people are saying about you online, especially with a lot of these social networks. I talked about Google Alerts, definitely a good place. Put in your name, put in your business name. Go see what people are talking about you. Twitter, and I think all these still work for the most part. There's a couple of them I haven't used in a while, but anyway, Track Engine, what that page, BuzzStream, Gig Alerts, not free, and then you can also set your RSS feeds and go. I mean, subscribe to the RSS of your competitor. See what kind of stuff they're putting out. Anyway, one of the best ways to track what you're doing, and I didn't put anything on here, but if you have real-time analytics. For real time, I mean, you got Google Analytics, obviously, and you could see what people are doing. But I like haveamint.com. It's like $30 for a domain, one-time fee, and I can see exactly the instant people are clicking on things. So if I had a story go hot on Dig, I can see every time I refresh, I'm getting 50,000 new visitors, or I can see helps me keep an eye on the links that are being built. I can keep an eye on what people are coming to my page from. If it's a different URL that I'm not familiar with, then it must be a new link that's been built. So again, there's many ways to track what you're doing, but again, just I hope with what I've shared with you today, you can kind of see where you can get that return of investment, and it makes you a little bit more comfortable using companies like mine, or doing it yourself if you're going to be putting in your time, knowing that, hey, there is going to be something that comes from this. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you tweeting the stuff. Like Shauna was telling me, if you liked what I had to say, here in the bottom right-hand corner, definitely feel free to follow me. I'm just at Matt underscore, don't forget the underscore, Siltala. I got one of those hard names, so you'll have to just look at it off the screen. But here's other ways that you can contact me and find me. But all right.
Oh, such great information. I tell you, you're going to have to go back and look at all the tweets because they've been sharing such great information. We do have a couple questions that we want to get to before we get to the break. But we've been bringing up Google Trends quite a bit in the last couple of webinars, and this is a great question is, how do you even pull up Google Trends? And for some people who are just getting started, that's a great question.
Oh, it is. Yeah, but you could just, if you want the cheating answer, just Google Trends. But the URL is trends.google.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, another question that we have is from Julie. Can you recommend honest, trustworthy, and informational instruction site to really learn how to use Twitter and Facebook? And she knows there's a lot of affiliates trying to sell tons of instructional sites, but are they worth it? And I happen to, there's tons of sites out there saying, you can do this and get this and do this, and become a Facebook millionaire, and they're just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, you're not, I'll just tell you right now, if you ever sign up for something that says you're going to become a Facebook millionaire overnight, you just wasted your money if you bought it. I'd never recommend looking into something like that. But, I'd say go and look at the blogs of the people that are doing this and that are, recently formed Blue Glass. They had Brent Satoris on there. Used to be a huge resource for social media stuff. I think that, and 10E20 and Search and Social, you have like Chris Winfield and Dave Snyder. These guys all used to have awesome resource, and they combined it all into one big company. And there's a lot of useful stuff that you could learn on blogs like theirs. Search Engine Journal, another one of theirs. You can learn from people like Lisa Barone from OutspokenMedia.com. My blog, Dream Systems Media, I talk a ton about Yelp and Twitter and Foursquare and marketing. I would go and, probably one of the best things to do, go and look. I don't follow very many people on Twitter, but the people that I follow for a reason. If you went to any one of those websites and found the ones that are mostly talking about social media, those are the ones that I learned from. And that's probably what I'd recommend doing the best. I would, stay away from the get-rich-quick crap and learn from people that are actually doing it for a living, and that's how it's going to help you make real money.
Well, I have to say I've been taking classes over at Market Motive with Jennifer Laycock, and
yes, her too. You were right.
They have a social media course that I'm actually doing the master certification right now for social media. It just started 2 weeks ago, and it is phenomenal. It goes over blogging, it goes over LinkedIn, it goes Twitter, Facebook, and I have always loved Jennifer Laycock. She's a phenomenal lady, and it is one heck of a great class. Plus, they do conversion with Brian Eisenberg and pay-per-click with David Satella. I mean, it's a great class. And these are reliable people in the industry that are well-known authors and respected people. So there's another place.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, Deborah Massler, a good friend of mine, and Jennifer's. She'll probably kick me for not mentioning Jennifer, but yeah, definitely. I second that, and she's awesome.
She definitely is awesome. Now, Julie mentioned, don't forget Merchant Circle, and I do have a kind of a surprise for you guys. Merchant Circle, which if you could do any of the local lookup, just emailed me not too long ago and told me that they're going to be joining us on Sunday. And I had put in a dinner break for Sunday at 5, but I was so excited to hear back from Merchant Circle that we're going to cancel that dinner break and we'll just have to eat dinner at our at our computer like we normally do every other day, because it's just going to be, I think, very, very useful for people who have a local bricks and mortar location. Now, here's a really great question because, and I know that this is going to be a hard one for you, but it's the one that I think most people ask. Probably the first question that they ask is, how do you learn to just use all these things, and how does a person even have time to learn it? Because that's the mystery to most people, because there's very little good training, and then, you go do all of this stuff, and it takes a lot of time. So that's a big thing, because they have their work to do as well.
Yeah, you're right. That is an excellent question. It might have been a tough question a year ago for me or whatever, but I've gotten it so much that I think I've perfected the answer. And this was actually told to me by a good friend of mine online, because I mean it's along the same lines of what I would say anyway, but he said it best, and he said, you're not going to be able to become a master of all of these overnight. I definitely would, and again, I'm paraphrasing it, but what you should do is don't try to become a master of 100 social networks. Pick 5 and become a master of those 5. As you find yourself becoming a master of those 5, you're going to see how much easier it is than you thought if you're brand new getting into it and feeling overwhelmed. Eventually it's going to get to a point where a lot of these things are on autopilot. And I even did a whole presentation at one of the SMXs a few months ago on social media in 60 minutes a day, which basically you rely on a lot of automation. And a lot of people may want to throw darts at me for saying automation, but there's a lot of stuff that you can automate. There's a lot of stuff that can, you may think that that I'm spending time on all these social networks, but I'm not really. And so I think by getting in and learning them and the tools that they offer you and perfecting a few of them at a time and then growing that portfolio, because let's look at it this way. Let's say you try to get in and do all of them. it's going to overwhelm you and you're going to end up not doing any of them. So even if you just pick a few and become a master of those few, that's going to be much better for you than doing nothing. And just take what you can handle and do what you can handle.
Absolutely. I know we have tons more questions, but I know we need to take a 5-minute break. So I would highly recommend, find Matt on the social networks and talk to him. He's a great guy. He provides phenomenal information. I highly recommend you grab him on Twitter as well, because, he's always retweeting just excellent links and excellent information, excellent articles, excellent posts. He's just a really great guy to follow, and plus you can follow up with your questions with him as well. And he's a great guy, and plus, as the girls had mentioned, he sounds just like Kevin Costner.
I've been told that so many times. It's crazy.
I know, and as soon as you opened up your mouth, Brenda remembered that from the last time you were on, and she goes, "Oh, it's Kevin Costner."
It's funny that you say that, because like on other webinars, I've been told that so many times. I'll just say this again. I wish I made the money of Kevin Costner.
I bet you do. We all do. Trust me. We all do. Oh, yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break, guys. And Matt, thank you again for being with us. I mean, just phenomenal information. Once again, you just provided all the great information, and we absolutely loved it. So thank you. And make sure to go check Twitter, because they've all been talking about the Kevin Costner voice and all the great tips that you provided.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much, guys.